by the way, viewers, also joined by Kunal Bothra in studio. Kunal, how is it that you're looking at the market today, and what are the levels that can we hold 24K very likely, even if things were to go south this week, or would you still be of the view that 23,800 to 24,300 will continue to be the band? Does the band shift higher as a result of the moves today?
Not really. I think the band still remains for the indices. Good afternoon, Harsh. So, what we are seeing in the last, I think, 4-5 days or from the mid of the previous week is the index just about trying to grapple into a trading range. 23,800 is a very strong support. We've managed to just about protect ourselves from the previous week, Wednesday, that single day of sharp sell-off where the Nifty was down 500 points and the Bank Nifty was down more than 1,500 points. From there, we've seen 2-3 days of a decent recovery for the indices. However, I think with this persistent news flow which has come back across the Middle East, I think that could probably maybe I would not say spook the markets a little bit, but it will cause a little bit of concern or maybe a risk-averse mode from investors as well as short-term traders. So I think we are in that process of just about trying to adjust with the latest happenings across the globe. And in that sense, I would sense that this range for the index would continue. The only important observation which we are spotting today on the charts, right from yesterday, there were two important observations that the put-call ratio was up to 1.6 and the range for the index in terms of options was 24,000 to 24,200. That range still remains even on a day like today where it's the weekly expiry. So we are seeing a very high built up by the 24,000 put option strike that indicates that there's been a good amount of put writing or support which is at the 24,000 levels for an intraday basis today. And on the higher side, 24,200 still remains to be a major resistance.
Okay, those are the levels on the index itself. Kunal, some strength in metals and pharma, can that continue?
Yeah, metals could be an odd case because I think it's just Hindalco and maybe some shades of positivity which has come back into Tata Steel, where the stock has just been trying to take support at the 190 mark. But I think it's very, very individualistic as of now, specific towards 1-2 stocks from the entire pack as such. But pharma, I think, could be a different ballgame altogether. I think what we are seeing is a second level of a breakout for the pharma stocks. What started off initially maybe a couple of weeks or a month out back for the pharma stocks, where it was few mid-cap names and then very few select large-cap stocks starting to show signs of a breakout. I think now that move is trickling back into other, rest of the pharma pack also. Today, for example, you've seen Biocon finally heading towards that breakout of 430, 435 mark. Of course, on the back of news flow, Sun Pharma has looked very attractive. The stock is confirming a breakout back again about 1950 levels. DV Slab has been doing fantastically well. So I think the pharma as an overall pack looks to be a more stronger sector, more of a cohesive move across the stocks within the sector. So that's the one space which I would want to bet on. But the real estate, rather the metal stocks, are the ones which I think could probably take a bit of a backseat.
And continue to be long IT, Kunal? Would that tilt remain?
Yeah, so the long IT trend still remains for the individual stocks as such. It's just that we've seen this as a pattern that over the last 10 odd days, there has been one single day of 3-4% up move for the IT index, and then 2 days of consecutive pause for the IT stock. So I would sense that maybe I think today, tomorrow could be a day where the IT index could go into a bit of a pause, mild retracement, try and come back towards some short-term supports on the hourly charts. And then I would probably expect that the stocks may go into maybe a couple of more rounds of bounces or an uptrend for themselves.
Interesting. Okay. So what's the floor on the Nifty IT then? Therefore, what should we look at in terms of at an index level, not at a stock level? What should we look at? 28,500, 28? What should the levels be?
See, I think broadly 28,000 on closing basis should be a good support. And this is the low with the IT index had made, I think, yesterday. And from there, we saw almost like a 1,000-point rally for the IT index. So in the last, I think, 10 odd days, we have been highlighting this pattern. The support of the previous lows, even though intraday it may be breached, but on closing basis, those supports generally get held on to. So I think in that sense, 28,000 on closing basis could be a good support.
Okay, 28K could be the support that IT will look for. Okay, Kunal, your picks in a market like this?
So I'll go with two buy calls, and there are some interesting breakouts which are happening on the stock-specific front. SBI Card is something which is looking attractive, a stock which has been a huge underperformer for the last many months. I think the stock closer to the 600 levels is establishing a base for itself, signs of an RSI divergence, rather bullish RSI divergence for the stock as a setup. Looks attractive for a target of 666. Stop loss could be kept at 610. The second could be about Premier Energies. Even this stock is a very interesting name, which is popping up on the charts. Today, in the last couple of days, the stock has seen a mild correction from the previous swing highs, but I think could be due for a further catch up on the upside. 1130 as an immediate target, stop loss at 1077.
Okay, so those are your picks out of the way. Let's zip into a very short break. On the other side, we'll be joined by Anshul Sehgal, founder at Sehgal Capital. He'll give us a perspective on how he's looking at markets. We'll take a bit of a fundamental view and thereafter start talking about buzzing stocks as well. But looking forward to this conversation with Anshul. Stay with us.